receding slope, similar to how a conch shell has a gradual curvature slope.
The cross section of the conch shell, when you cut it in the middle, you will see the living organism inside, which is the mollusk.
Function as an additional space for green roof, a film, or solar panel.
For the gathering place for the residential people, like athletes, they can gather in that area. Like the ground floor can be lobby, and the upper floors can be like dining halls, indoor sport areas, and gaming areas and stuff.
And the bottom portion makes a lot of sense. I was wondering kind of dashed area around the wave, how that correlates immediately to the portion you're pointing at. So that was maybe a computer point, kind of separating the program, commercial versus residential, how you're kind of lifting areas.
So we separated it like across those two curves. And we also wanted to leave an open space that leaves it open for like use of the shoreline and like circulation that encourages people to flow in and out.
What I was saying was, why did you guys do that? Like this blue here.
You just add a layer to why you made those clips where you did. I mean, you have that rationale. We got that to the diagram. I think it's a home run.
What you explained about that, like being the shoreline and the beach are kind of the source of this waveform as well, but you can find a way to kind of highlight that.
The shell acts as both the commercial and residential spaces, and it kind of encapsulates this pearl in the center.
We have here the two residential masses that are located on the seaside.
Its function is to protect the pearl from the exterior, and our building is protecting it from the high winds, the car noises, and also creating circulation, safe circulation for both pedestrians and cyclists alike.
If you could add a little bit of some of the site analysis that you're putting on there graphically as well, like a lot of you are doing a great job describing like where the busy streets are and what those gray masses are, whether it's residential or commercial. And also this concept you have of the shell protecting the pearl. I love it.
Appreciate like how you're showing circulation on the far right graphic and kind of how people are going to use the space. But yeah, that was one question I had as well is, what is that? The focal point of your project, what is that?
And so upon this, we did our nature study, and we found that coral reefs, and specifically staghorn coral, is an organism that we thought best communicated the goal for what we wanted for this village.
Making them one of the most biological diverse habitats on the planet. So similarly, Olympic Village hosts athletes from a wide variety of backgrounds, culture, and then nations.
And that's when we came up with the idea of doing more of like a village typology. So instead of doing large tower masses, something more practical, and the idea of modularity, especially when considering the after use of these.
So our goal is to achieve something that is modular, stack layer, and also branches, just like the formation of the coral. And also we try to mimic the interconnectedness of the marine diversity and the coral. So as you can see, we divide our site into 3 neighborhoods. You can see here, this is just 2 floor and this is 3 floor. We make sure that everyone has a unique view.
Also like modularity, and with that comes a tremendous amount of flexibility. I think maybe that would be my challenge for you is, coral, you can see it over time and how that builds into something really great. And I don't want to put ideas in your head, but I just think it's really interesting how you could do something that has a really low impact, that's a lot less dense for an Olympic, something that maybe is a little more temporary. But be curious to see, 10, 15, 20, 50 years on the road, how that might be able to be evolved. So that modularity and the flexibility is a really key concept for sustainability oftentimes. So
When you cut a jellyfish, it's able to regrow its limbs exactly symmetrical. So conceptually, we like the idea of modularity. We like the idea of having curved outer pieces, but also like a connecting piece. It's kind of like the idea of like regrowth. You cut something and it's able to grow back. We basically want to integrate this connecting sector because during the Olympics, it's going to get extremely popular. There's going to be an influx of people, and so it's like that alone is going to be an issue. And if there's no way to connect those sites, then no one is even going to be able to get here efficiently.
When we walked to the site as a class, we noticed that there are no sidewalks. Everything was barricaded off. There's no bike paths. Yet you have just on the other side the whole beach area, bike paths, a lot of recreational activities and people there all year round. And so with that, we wanted to bridge those areas and create a very open communal center in between our site. So that way we have more open community area that people can enjoy both sides of it and easily get to the other side with this bridge instead of feeling unsafe on this main street that isn't very pedestrian friendly.
It's for the community, that communities can come here and feel integrated into this place.
You guys are the only ones who like talked about this site and really wanted to and had insight into why you did a bridge. And I think that's a really cool idea.
Like your takeaway from the jellyfish is this expansion and contraction. Then what does that mean, I guess, when you apply that to your building and how have you done that? Who is coming through the site? And, why might somebody want to come here? Is it a marketplace? Is it shopping or whatever kind of the typology of people that are there?
Kudos to you guys for at least having trees. And that really helps us kind of understand like what your thought process is for the negative space, right? Because I know it's like you're focused on the building and the overall massing and arrangement of things, but like there's architecture outside too, right?
These are the trails, the pathways. We decided to make like a bridge, so it wouldn't be like, it would be connected, but like it would be elevated. So by shoreline drive.
Along this side, this, as we all know, or who's ever been there, there's like a rectangular patch of open space, but there's nothing on the other side. It's just how people mentioned it's barricaded. So.
When you think about your party diagram as well, Arroyo, the way that it works is not like there's a single jet stream that goes straight, right? So it's almost like you have the inverse of what the Arroyo is, but it's hard to kind of understand what is going to take a building form. If number one is your residences, it's a really small part of the overall concept. If you're trying to address the Olympic housing or, there's a housing crisis in California, right?
We residential, one for single, one for family, one for home office. Because this one also has different exterior, outside, how can do window and how can do outside. And
tough to follow just because labels would go a long ways. I think what you're talking about is a typology of different residential units, right?
Giving the reason why you move things or why things are oriented the way they are would definitely go a long way.
We took our inspiration from the Norfolk Island pine, which is just a coastal pine tree that you can see on the bottom left. We noticed as we walked the site with our class that there's a lot of traffic, a lot of pollution from the vehicular traffic, and so we wanted to build a little natural berm right here, a little hill that will create a barrier for that sound, so there won't be sound pollution in our site.
So we wanted to make it so the foot traffic can access all the way like through these spaces. These are all like raised too, so people can go out underneath. Pieces of paper to just model the natural berm that we wanted to create in order to block out all of the traffic noise that is created in each shoreline drive.
You guys did a sun study. Maybe putting that somewhere on the presentation would be helpful.
Just understanding how the sun actually impacted what you did in these diagrams and the building forms would be super telling. I think the berms is an interesting idea to insulate from sound. It felt a little bit maybe disconnected from the other ideas.
Your diagram explained your concept very well. It's an interesting idea to kind of incorporate that landscape to kind of how do you interact with the building.
This is a residential building, which we decided to derive, as you said, from the reproduction of the coral. So how it reproduces is it breaks off from the parent and it just expands and creates its own colony from each polyp.
As for our site plan, we have the residential in the corner because we want to have more intimate private setting for them, and our flow of circulation would mainly be going this way.
And then for during the Olympics, we wanted to use the museum for different amenities for the athletes, which is like physical therapy, a cafeteria, a spa, and like a training room.
I'd imagine that there's some reason why it forms and branches into angles, right? I would also recommend whether you start at the very top tower, like if that's one unit, for all of you to at least have a very basic understanding of, again, scale. Like what is the size of, is it a 2-bedroom unit? Are we doing 1 bedroom? Just draw one of them and then you'll get a certain size of a footprint that you need.